What is good, people? Welcome back to another video on 8 Count. In today's video, we are going to be discussing Undisputed, aka Esbc. It feels like we're getting ever so close to the early access finally being here. This weekend, we've got another chance to get on the beta. There's a whole bunch of other fighters that we're going to be able to use, and I'm going to be bringing you some of that footage on the weekend. But before that, I wanted to talk about the game modes that we need and expect to see in Undisputed day one when the game fully launches on all platforms. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment in the comment section down below, letting me know any of the game modes that you would like to see or anything you disagree with me on. It's greatly appreciated. And let's get straight into it, guys. We've got some gameplay in the background now, which I captured in the first beta, just so you can look at something other than my face. But yeah, guys, we'll start off with some of the offline game modes and some of the core things which need to be in this game for it to be successful offline. We're going to start with that fight now mode, that quick fight, just being able to hop in there with two fighters, have a bit of practice. But the main sort of thing which is going to be important with this game mode is how the AI is in this game. I hope we have an AI which is very fluid and is very, adaptive to whoever the fighter is. If I'm fighting against Tyson Fury, it should be different than if I'm fighting against, someone like Deontay Wilder. So I hope we do have that sort of experience in the game where fighting different sort of fighters feels different. Every fighter feels unique, and hopefully they will capture that. The other game mode in offline, which is always going to be core, is that career mode. In terms of career mode on combat sports games that I've played, in my opinion, the best one is UFC Undisputed 3. I felt that game mode was less linear than any of the other ones. In terms of, going up and down in weight, that was possibilities. You could go to different organizations with Pride being in the game. And nowadays, especially if we look at the most recent sort of combat sports games, you'd have to go to UFC, EA Sports UFC 4. The career mode is very linear in terms of what you can do. It's basically a path which is already written out. You just got to go down it. You're not able to do things that would differ from the rest. Everyone's career mode seems pretty similar. So I would like to see in this career mode, we know that you're apparently going to be able to go up and down in weight. You're going to be able to sign with different sort of promoters and stuff like that. I hope that there is that sort of feeling of it is your journey and it's not the same as everybody else's. So I hope that is the case in this game mode. I think closely with a career mode, a lot of people will talk about that Fight Night Champion mode, which was awesome in terms of like that story-driven game mode with the cutscenes and everything. And I mean, even now it still plays out really well. It's definitely one which was before its time, in my opinion. In terms of that being in the game on launch, I really don't believe we're going to get that. I believe that is something that we probably will see in the future, though. I think in terms of where this game is at the moment and where they're focusing their efforts, I think that would take a lot out of what they're doing right now. So I do believe that because this game is a live service game, in terms of the fact we are going to be getting fighters throughout the course of the game's life cycle, I do believe we'll probably get a sort of a mode like this later on, maybe a year or two into it after the full release. And I hope we do see something like that, because I really enjoyed Fight Night Champion. There was some corny shit in it, let's not lie, but overall it was a really fun experience. Other game modes that I would like to see offline, I would just like to see a sort of mini Grand Prix mode where you can put together, 16 fighters into a bracket sort of system and they can fight their way through. You can either control all the fighters or, none of them. You can simulate it. It's just something that I think has always been, not necessarily something that I've always done, but something that I see others do and they enjoy. So I wouldn't mind seeing that in there. Another game mode which is highly underrated, in my opinion, is the UFC Undisputed 3. Undisputed UFC 3. I can't even speak it, but the game mode was title mode and contender mode or something like that. And the basis of the game was you'd pick a fighter in a weight class, you'd be able to work your way up the rankings. There was no training, it was just one fight. If you win that one, you're on to the next. And in this game mode, it kind of had a 3-strike system where if you lose 3 fights, that's the end of the game and you'd have to restart it. But the aim of the game was to become the champion in that weight class. Once you'd done that, that fighter was unlocked then to defend the bout with, and you could try and defend it as many times as you'd like. And in order to unlock fighters, you'd have to go through the title mode in order to, kind of unlock them for the champion mode. And that's something that I would like to see in the game. It was an offline mode, which was super fun. I felt like the AI was actually pretty good in UFC Undisputed 3. So that's something I'd like to see in this game mode. I think it could be really fun, especially like going through all the sort of divisions. You look at the roster that Undisputed has right now, and it's absolutely stacked. So, you know, the sort of grind to get through all of them. You could even have sort of mini sort of rewards, I guess you could say, for it. So I'd like to see that, you know, just maybe some cosmetic shit, which you could put on your, you know, career mode fighter or CAF. That's something I would like to see. The other game mode is one which I could kind of see being in both offline and online. I saw Coach's Corner kind of talking about this concept of having a gym in the game, and you can go into the gym, and you know, I think it sounds really good in terms of, you know, you've got all the equipment there that you can use if you want. You can go in a heavy bag, maze bag, anything you kind of want, which is in the game, but also having that ability to get into the ring and go, right, I want an AI, I want to set him up to just be a shell, almost like a wounded opponent, so you can practice your sort of finishing and, you know, getting people out of there. Or you could have a fighter in there, you can select the AI, I want him to kind of point fight on the outside, just using his jab and his straights, and really try and keep me at bay. You know, practicing these little things to really help people improve at the game. I think that would be a big factor in, you know, people improving, and it could be a really fun mode. Other than that, though, you could invite your friends into the game, and let's say you know someone who is just an absolute beast at the game, they just dominate, they're a wrecking ball. They could bring you into their gym and they could show you some stuff, and you know, it could be really helpful. I'd like to see that. I think it'd be cool in terms of content creation. I'm sure there's some guys who will be absolutely beastly out there, you know, turning, you know, noobs into absolute beasts. That would be fun to see. Other than that, though, guys, I want to go on to the online game modes. But in terms of online, EA Sports UFC 4 has been an absolute shambles in terms of the ranked and quick fight. You kind of have to play in quick fight if you want to use a certain fighter. You know, let's say they bring out Alex Pereira and I want to use Poton. I have to go into quick fight to use him, because there's no guarantee that I'm going to get to use him in ranked because of the system where there is time limits on each weight class. I want to see that scrapped in this game. I don't want it anywhere near it. I believe everyone should be able to use whatever fighter they want in whichever weight class they want whenever. You know, if people want to use the same fighter over and over again, I think that's fair. I mean, you know, learning, you know, how to use different characters should be one of the fundamentals of this game. And if that's the case, that, you know, every fighter is going to be as unique as it's sounding like it is at this moment in time, you know, that will be super fun, just going through, maybe, you know, picking cruiserweight, learning each of the cruiserweights, learning all of the heavyweights, middleweights, all of it. That could be something fun. So in terms of that, you know, I do want to see that in rank. But in terms of quick fight, I think it's just got to be an easy sort of game mode you can get into. I think in terms of the round selection, I don't think anyone really wants to go into quick fight and probably have a 12-round war. But maybe that option should be there. You can search how many rounds you want to fight, and maybe it finds a middle ground. If there's no one searching for a 4-round fight, maybe it'll put you in a 6 or something like that. But yeah, I think that those should be the options. You should be able to choose all the venues. Everything, like I said, with the fight now mode basically should be in quick fight online. In terms of the ranked, I think that they need to separate it, and they need to separate it for me personally, because I cannot stand playing a rank mode coming up against creator fighters. I think creator fighters, you know, have a role in the game, but they should be separate to, you know, where I'm using real fighters, in my opinion. Personally, I just think it takes me kind of out of that sort of tunnel vision, I guess you could say. Kind of pulls me out of that sort of, oh shit, I'm in a fight, because I'm coming up against someone who looks absolutely ridiculous and is just spamming stupid techniques. Personally, I would like to see it split off, so you'd have a ranked with your licensed fighters, you know, anyone who's a real fighter in the game. I think that would be fun. And then you'd have a ranked, which is just a creator fighter one, which is kind of similar to what Fight Night had with that online world championship mode. And I think, you know, personally, I probably would play the CAF one every now and then, but personally, I'm someone who would, you know, stick to the licensed fighters, because it gives me that sort of enjoyment and that boxing fix that I really need. So I'd like to see that, guys. In terms of the ranked as well, in each of the game modes, I'd like to see I like the UFC idea of having the divisions, but I don't like the way it plays out. It doesn't really feel like you're in a division because it can change so quickly. I would like to see more, you know, maybe less rankings in general, but maybe tiers to that, almost like a sort of league system where maybe you start off at the bottom and you'll be like club fighter, and then you go into prospect, then you'll go into star, and then you'll go into contender, and then champion, and you have all these divisions, and in those divisions there are sort of maybe safety net positions like they have in the current FIFA games. So if you get to this point, you can't go back down, but if you can keep working your way up, that's something that I'd like to see. I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do in terms of like almost like something which rewards players for playing ranked. I would like to see that, whether that just be cosmetic stuff or, you know, just maybe even nameplates, stuff like that. We'll have to wait and see, but that's something that could be cool. And another thing I'd like to see, you know, kind of almost tailored towards, you know, multiple sort of things. It could be a, you know, a creator or an esports event. I'd like to see almost like a tournament mode where you can put every sort of player in the game into this bracket, and then in terms of that bracket, you can kind of rank each fighter, so you can have 1 to 64 or whatever, and number 1 will start off by fighting 64, number 2 will fight 63, and so on. You know, so you have this ranking system in a tournament bracket, and people can fight, and if they finish their fight and another fight's going on, they can wait. I'd also like to see an option in there so you could almost broadcast the fight. I think that would be really interesting in terms of like an esports sort of mode, so they wouldn't have to, you know, especially when it's these ones like sort of esports modes, but they're going to people's streams, you could just pull up the fight from the game itself, and maybe even have different sort of angles in terms of the camera, because we know there's going to be a shit ton of camera angles, and maybe in terms of the cameras that people like to fight on, maybe that's not the camera people like to spectate on. So I'd like to see something like that. I think it'd be really interesting if you're able to, you know, even just bring a bunch of creators into a tournament or a bunch of pros into a tournament, spectate the game. You know, if the game's over, you can see who's waiting for their next matchup, and that it'd be something which would be really smooth and, you know, really, you know, just kind of crisp for the esports scene. That's something I'd like to see anyway, guys. In terms of game modes, guys, that's pretty much me done. I'm not too much sure what you can add in terms of game modes for a fighting game, because there is so much, like, there's not so much you can do. Maybe one other game mode would be almost like a challenge mode where you have to go out and kind of relive sort of moments which have happened in history. So maybe you do Ali versus Foreman and stuff like that. I think that could be fun, and you've got to try and get the correct result. Maybe they give you some sort of name tag or whatever if you do it right. But yeah, guys, it's hard, I think, to get the game modes that you want into a game, so it'd be interesting to see what they do. But that's the end of the video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I'm going to be back probably on Sunday, Monday with some videos from the new beta. I'm going to try and get some gameplay with the new fighters, guys. Super excited to use Wilder and Usyk. I think they give a unique sort of vantage point to the game that we haven't seen yet, in terms of one has just got unreal power, which if they do have all the sort of flash knockdowns on, it will affect the gameplay, and the other one is a southpaw, which we haven't seen yet. So that's something I'm excited to get my hands on, guys. As like I said at the start of the video, if there's something I've missed out, let me know in the comment section down below, guys. That's the end for this one, and I'll see you at the end of the week. Check out my UFC picks if you haven't seen it already.